Hello, and welcome to Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter, a podcast where Dr. O from All Creatures Every Spine interviews doctors and animal owners that utilize animal chiropractic to get their unique perspectives. Yes, it's really a thing. Dr. O utilizes his 30 years of experience as both an animal chiropractor and veterinarian, and to dig deep into the discussion of complex issues affecting the lives of your animal friends and companions. Join us for this educational episode. Thanks for joining us for this portion of the episode as Dr. O begins to answer the question, what is animal chiropractic? He will look at how the chiropractic adjustment is a valuable and viable treatment for what ails your animals.
So what is animal chiropractic? We have people ask that all the time. Animal chiropractic is geared at removing nervous system interference. Animal chiropractors are the only people that do that. We identify problems in the nervous system. We identify places where there's this impingement in flow, like a frozen water pipe, or any other thing that might cause, flow problems. It could be a traffic flow problem. We're having some road construction right now. So when the guy flips his sign around, he removes the interference, and everybody's able to go to town, go where they want to go. But when his sign is interfering with movement, nothing happens. And that's kind of the way animal chiropractic is. What's your diagnosis, doctor? My diagnosis is vertebral subluxation. That can result in a lot of other things. It can result in GI problems. It can result in symptoms that look like a lot of other diseases. They can be neurological diseases, like wobblers, like degenerative myelopathy. They can be diseases that we have testing for. It can mimic pancreatitis. It can mimic GI problems. It can mimic reproductive problems. Can't tell you how many people have told me that they were having trouble having babies themselves, and they went to the chiropractor for a car accident, and all of a sudden, now she's pregnant. And it was great. We know that in dairy cows, adjusting the sacrum increases conception rate. We know that baby chickens are more vigorous if they're adjusted. Birth is traumatic for every living species. It has to be. How many horses and dogs that are full grown can get into a birthing position? Pretty tough. Puts a strain on their neck, puts a strain on their shoulders. Full range of motion. There's a lot of dogs that can do one leg and then the other, but to do them both together, that's pretty tough. And extend that head. And what about your horse? Even when they go over jumps, they very seldom get stretched all the way up. So, trauma, Then thoughts cause subluxations. What are some thoughts? Well, anything that causes stress in your animal, and we look at things like the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Is it balanced? Well, the sympathetic nervous system is the one that causes you to fight and flight, fight or run, and then the parasympathetic nervous system is the one that allows you to learn and digest food and do all kinds of cool stuff in a relaxed manner. So, if that's imbalanced, is your digestion proper? No, because your parasympathetic nervous system can't relax and do it. Are you able to learn, or do you have problems like ADD, learning disabilities, or oh my gosh, this horse just can't learn, this dog forgets everything I teach it. Maybe that's just chiropractic subluxation, a problem between the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Some kind of blockage in there that's not allowing them to be at the utmost. So an animal chiropractor is going to go in, he's going to remove these vertebral subluxations, these blockages that were caused by thoughts, traumas, and toxins that interfered with the nervous system and is causing your animal to not have optimal function. What's optimal function? For some people, getting up on the couch, getting off the couch, not urinating or pooping in the house. eating appropriately. For some people, that's an appropriate behavior for a dog. But I've got clients that, they compete with their dogs. They run marathons with their dog beside them. They go bike riding. They compete in sports. And the dogs love these sports. And they compete. They protect themselves. They protect their owner. And the human-animal bond is great, whether your animal is a couch potato, and that's his job, to keep your feet warm while you watch the TV at night, or, to compete with you and to help you travel all over the world and do fun things. Whichever it is, animal chiropractic will help remove the nervous system interferences and allow your animal to compete at an optimal level.
Make sure to visit our website, allcreatureseveryspine.com, where you can subscribe to the show and learn more about getting your animals adjusted. If you are in the Meridian, Texas area, drop in on a Tuesday afternoon to get your animals adjusted. If that isn't possible, schedule a consultation on your animal's health with Dr. O. You can also purchase a copy of Dr. O's book. Yes, it's really a thing. Join us as Dr. O interviews a certified chiropractor, veterinarian, or an animal owner. These enthusiastic people explain how they utilize animal chiropractic to alter the lives of the animals in their communities.
Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter. I'm your host, Dr. O, and today I'm here with this lovely lady that's sitting inside with snow surrounding her in Colorado. Why don't you introduce yourself, Dr. Gibson?
Hi, I am Dr. Meridian Marshall-Gibson. I'm a equine veterinarian up in Colorado. I specialize in sports medicine, lameness, and a lot of chiropractic work, thanks to Dr. Amy and Dr. O. And yeah, that's what we're all about.
All right. What's one reason you decided to add animal chiropractic to your practice? I think this might be interesting.
I think that's a great question. To be honest with you, I was a skeptic when I first learned about animal chiropractic. I grew up in the Chicago area, and at the time, it was an interesting time in the equine industry, and there were a lot of lay people going around claiming to be chiropractors. And I kind of watched them do their thing. Didn't really understand what they were doing. And I honestly didn't see a big difference with the lay people working on the horses. They would be there for, maybe 5-10 minutes. They might touch the horse, they might not. And in the end, I just felt like they were taking people's money and running. So then fast forward to my veterinary school career, and I was fortunate enough to work with a veterinarian who was certified in animal chiropractic, who was also a surgeon. And I saw her work on quite a few horses, and she specialized in neck pain and pathology. And the difference that she made with the horses after her adjustments was dramatic. So I started kind of thinking about this, and in vet school, you're not taught about pretty much anything above the stifle or above the elbow. And I wanted to learn more about this whole other mystery part of the horse's body. So started investigating animal chiropractic schools, and I found ACEs. And right out of vet school, enrolled in the ACEs program and started to learn a lot. And I think the biggest thing was learning the philosophy of chiropractic. I think that helped me a lot. It took me a while to buy in, I'm not going to lie, because of my skepticism. But in the end, I finally got it. And when I started using animal chiropractic for my patients, I saw a huge difference, not only in their ability to move, but getting my hands on them from a preventative standpoint, and being able to work on them before certain things and compensatory patterns became a problem. And so from there, yeah, I would say chiropractic is a large part of what I do now. I would say in an average week, I probably adjust anywhere from 20 to 40 horses. So that's kind of what we do and why I got involved in it.
Cool. All right. And your practice is about what percent animal chiropractic? Wait, let me reword that. What percent of your patients do you see that do not get an adjustment?
Oh, I would say less than 5%. You know, I think the way I set up my practice was interesting. I actually started out by buying out the equine side of another chiropractic practice because that person was going to, for her own personal reasons, focus on canine. She's only about like 5 foot and decided that she loved the canine side. So she stuck with that and I took over the equine side. And it just kind of grew from there. I think the nice thing is, you know, compared to a general practice where you're out there doing the dentistry and the vaccines and all that, the chiropractic for me is a nice way to keep in touch with my patients and to keep a constant relationship and getting my hands on them, you know, once a month or once every other month to make sure that nothing is interfering with their future performance.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what's your biggest win that you can remember with animal chiropractic?
Oh man. I mean, I think there's a couple ways I can answer that. If you're talking about patient wise, there's two that come to mind. There was an older Arabian mare who, poor thing, could not raise and lower its head to eat, had lost a lot of weight, had dental work, had blood work run, everything checked out pretty darn good, especially for, you know, a 30 some odd year old Arabian mare. But she was getting to the point where, you know, she really could not do much in the way of lifting and lowering her head. I mean, she kind of stuck within a 1 to 1.5 foot vertical limitation. And we went out there and got her on a weekly adjustment schedule for 3 weeks. And that mare, after the first adjustment, was able to get her neck almost to the ground, to eat off the ground. And after those three adjustments, she had full range of motion of her neck again. She started gaining weight. Owner started being able to work her again, and, you know, not much because she's 30 years old and retired, but you know, started being able to try to get her to move around better. And that was really dramatic for me. That was my first win. The second one I can remember was a horse up in the mountains used for a lot of ranch work, and his hind end was really uncomfortable. The owner noticed that he just started hopping behind, crow hopping, could not cross his legs underneath him to do a simple side pass or turn in a tight circle. And after one chiropractic adjustment, I only go up to the mountains in that area once a month. I rechecked him the next month and he was fully crossing his limbs underneath him. He was very comfortable behind. The owners were super happy. And honestly, it only took one adjustment and he held it. So, you know, that was a huge win for me. And then I think from a personal and professional standpoint, work-life balance is huge in the equine veterinary industry. We are in crisis right now, to be honest with you. There is less than 1% of veterinary graduates going into large animal medicine. And the 5-year retention rate is 50% of that. So a large part of that is work-life balance, being able to afford what you do and being able to have time to have a family and enjoy life and not be on call 24/7. And so I think by adding this into my patients, and again, being able to get my hands on them once a month prevents a lot of things. So, you know, from a professional standpoint, it's been invaluable.
And weren't you an associate when you got started?
I was.
Ah, and did you plan on buying a clinic?
No, I mean, that was always the dream. But my first job out of my 2 internships, the goal was for me to eventually take over that practice. Unfortunately, that did not work out. The owner and I did not see eye to eye from a philosophy standpoint. And so when I was evaluating what I really loved to do and what made a difference in my life, I really loved doing the animal chiropractic side of it. And that's where I started talking to this other practitioner that was getting out of the equine side. And she overlapped with me for about 6 months, just to make sure that we had continuity. And that worked out great. I lost 0 clients. As far as that goes. And for any of you who have bought out a client list, I mean, that's essentially what you're buying out no matter what part of veterinary medicine you're in, or the chiropractic side, I would assume. Right. If you're a doctor of chiropractic, it's very hard, at least on the veterinary side, to keep those clients. And you know, the chiropractic continuity, and the fact that we were both trained by Dr. Amy and Dr. O, really helped a lot.
So now might be a good time to announce our new scholarship program.
Oh yeah.
For associate veterinarians, kind of sponsored by you. So, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
So any veterinarians that are listening or chiropractors that are associates that are looking for a tool to help them establish work-life balance and maybe get their own practice going. Mm-hmm. We've, between the 2 clinics, your clinic and our clinic and the school, we have set up an associate scholarship, correct?
Correct. Yep. So super exciting. So, you know, I think there's going to be more information on the ACES website about that coming up. Right. But yes, so, you know, the goal is for those of you who don't think you can afford getting your certification in animal chiropractic or need some help taking that leap, we definitely have some opportunities for you to earn some money towards your education. I will say, you know, I know it seems like a giant leap, and that's why the scholarship is there to help you out. I will say you will make that money back within a year, if not less. I mean, I think I made that money back within 6 months. You know, so it's huge, and I can't say enough good things, but look into the scholarship program because, you know, it seems like a lot of money up front. I get that. I really do, especially if you're an associate in equine medicine, because we don't get that. But that's there to help you, and we hope you take advantage of that because it's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, great. And we appreciate your help in getting that started.
Yeah.
And if you're listening from South Africa, there's a scholarship there, and the South African ACE graduate that over there is, he's willing to write a check for the whole thing, and you work for him for 1 year, because in his words, if you go to ACES and work for me for 1 year, you will quadruple my money. Okay, quadruple the money that I invest in you to get this advanced training.
I would agree with that.
And then at the end of the year, we can look and see if you want to go on your own or if you want to keep working for me. But he said, but you'll have already paid he's doing it as a loan, so you'll have repaid my loan. So anyway, anybody that wants to go to South Africa for a while, that's available too. Anyway, so we have a lot of options on how to get started. When should you start?
Oh, geez, today. If you have that opportunity, you know, I can't say how much it's helped me in my practice, but the sooner you get started, the better. And I know, you know, the idea of going back to school is a little daunting, but at the same time, the education is great, and it's a good refresher for some of us on our anatomy and physiology, and things that, you know, weren't necessarily emphasized in a certain way when we were in vet school. And I think the other thing that I found very valuable was being in a school that also had chiropractors there, human chiropractors, because as much as we are versed in the Western side of veterinary medicine, they know the anatomy and physiology of the spine better than we do, and they understand the central nervous system, and they know how to adjust. And that was huge to me, because I think the techniques at first, you know, are a little bit overwhelming, and not in the sense of how many techniques there are, but how much pressure am I supposed to be doing? How do I make sure I'm doing the right thing? And having a chiropractor behind you to say, hey, try this because you're this tall and I'm this tall, or try a different technique, I think was huge. So
Cool. And I mean, you were in just out of school when you started, and you did the online, and then you came to a module 1. And when did you start adjusting horses?
I started with little things right away. You know, I didn't try to I'm a perfectionist at heart, so I didn't go past what you had already taught us. So I just started with the neck and the pelvis. But even just adjusting, you know, the atlas, or the pelvis, it makes a huge difference in a lot of these horses. I can't tell you how many of my performance horses have issues with their pelvis. It's insane. And their atlas for sure. But, you know, it's all connected. So even starting with those areas was a lot of help to my patients right away.
Yeah. And when you get those clear, the extremities are easier, aren't they?
They are much easier.
So yeah, that's what we tell people all the time. What do you wish all your animal owners knew?
Oh, first, I think I wish they knew, and a lot of mine do, but animal chiropractic works. However, having said that, you need a certified animal chiropractor. I think one of the biggest things I find, and I kind of started the presentation with this, is there are a lot of people out there that claim to be chiropractors, that don't have any form of certification. They may have taken a weekend course somewhere. And veterinarians are guilty of this too. They are. I know some people in my area who claim to be chiropractors that are veterinarians, and they have zero training. And that, I think, is an injustice to what animal chiropractic is. So I think knowing your laws in your state about who can call themselves an animal chiropractor is a big thing. In Colorado here, and in Wyoming actually is a little bit stricter. In Colorado, you have to be a doctor of chiropractic or a veterinarian who has gone through one of the AVCA, or American Veterinary Chiropractic schools, and has passed one of either the AVCA or IVCA exams. And that is huge. So, you know, Colorado's trying to do the right thing to protect your animals, but if you have one of these lay chiropractors adjust your animal, they have zero liability. They have no idea, you know, if something happens, not that it should, especially if you use a certified chiropractor, but if these lay chiropractors work on your animal and something happens and there's an injury, you are not covered. So, you know, I think that's huge as well. So for your animal safety, a certified animal chiropractor is who you want to use.
Well, and one of the things that people don't understand about when you say if something happens and it's covered, all right, so we as veterinarians, we have this thing called Bailey insurance, which means that, you know, I'm handing your horse back to you after I worked on it. And somebody honks the horn and the horse spooks and runs into the fence. All right, whose fault is it? Not mine, not yours, the idiot that honked the horn maybe, but you know, we can't do anything about him because we don't even know who it was. It's not malpractice. All right, but we have Bailey insurance. You know, not that that happens very often,
No.
but if you don't have that Bailey insurance, you know, be like the roof that's already damaged and not covered by insurance again because it wasn't fixed the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's not under anybody's policy.
Right.
Then you're just out that. So that's why you should use a certified animal chiropractor, because most of them have some Bailey insurance.
Right.
So what do you wish, like all the veterinarians in your area that don't do animal chiropractic knew about animal chiropractic?
Oh,
And
I mean,
chiropractors too. What do you wish they knew?
yeah, I mean, again, I think that it works, but I also think that they have to understand, they don't always understand the different parts of the horse, right? They don't understand the importance of back pain and things like that, and what it can do to us, not only from a injury standpoint, or yeah, it hurts, but from an emotional standpoint. So, you know, these horses that might have some vague complaints of, you know, they're a little bit spooky. I can't really figure out what's going on. We run every diagnostic test in the book. Sometimes it can come back to some form of subluxation in their spine and some form of nerve impingement that's causing you know, either a dysfunction in an organ like their gut, or, you know, a hormonal imbalance. So, you know, if you have a vague complaint, it's not going to hurt to have a certified animal chiropractor at least look at the horse and say, hey, this is what I found. I don't know if this is going to help your problem or not, but it might. Let's try this for a little while. And I've been surprised how many people and how many other veterinarians have started referring to us for that reason. Yeah, so.
Because you don't want to steal their clients.
No.
You don't want to do the routine deworming for everybody else's clients, the routine vaccination, and the 2 o'clock in the morning sew the laceration up.
Right, right. So we're here to help, but we're not here to steal your business, that's for sure. We're just there to add it as an adjunct to help your patient.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. And then I think it always helps too if the veterinarians that are referring understand what is chiropractic and what is not chiropractic.
Exactly.
I had a dog in the other day that had a musculoskeletal issue, and he asked the vet, well, what about chiropractic? And the vet said, well, you know, I guess you can go to a chiropractor and try, see what happens. The hip was totally dislocated. Oh. Not chiropractic. Yes, musculoskeletal, and yes, but it was not chiropractic. Now, did we adjust the dog's atlas? You bet. Why? So it would help heal, help relieve some of that stuff, restore. Because if he had a dislocated femur, there was a lot of other stuff going on in that body too. So,
well, and I think that brings up a good point too, again, about a certified animal chiropractor. You know, these lay chiropractors, the important thing about the certification, not only do they teach you how to adjust, they also teach us when not to adjust. So I think that's also a very good point, because a lot of these lay chiropractors will adjust anything, and they might not identify that hip was, you know, completely dislocated, and they might try to do something and hurt the dog. So I think a very valuable part of at least the ACEs program was they also taught you, okay, if this is a situation, you need to refer it to a vet, and get this part taken care of. Not that you can't adjust, like you just said, the other parts of the animal, but leave this part alone for now.
Yeah, for now. Let's not adjust. Probably not chiropractic.
Right.
You know? So anyway, yeah, definitely. And we see things like that, and you know, every so often, but it's getting less and less as we educate more and more people. So I think that's huge, the education. Any last words of wisdom?
Oh, I mean, everybody who can get certified in animal chiropractic should. I think that there are a lot of animals, there's animal chiropractic is getting more and more popular, which is great. But there's still more animals out there that need help. And we just can't get to them all. So I think my last word of wisdom is, if you're interested at all, look into our scholarship program, contact ACEs, kind of talk to us, find a certified chiropractor, and we can tell you our stories and how it's changed our lives, and how it will change your life for the better. So.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
And we'll look forward to talking to you again.
All right. Thanks, Dr. O.
You bet. Have a great day.
You too.
If you are or know a veterinarian or chiropractor, or a student of either of these professions, visit our website, Animal Chiropractic Education Source, to see how to become certified in animal chiropractic. Start improving the lives of the animals around you. Welcome to Dr. O's opus of animal chiropractic. Chiropractic consists of 3 parts: the art, the science, and the philosophy. This last segment of today's podcast is loaded with the philosophy and principles of animal chiropractic.
All right, good.
Yeah, so two situations that we witnessed within a matter of 10 minutes of time of you speaking to animal owners who have not been getting their chiropractic, had never even considered getting chiropractic care for their animals, and yet they were here on your premises, and both of them you handled very, very differently. But yet the outcome, most likely, in your mind is going to be the same. But you handled it completely different. Talk to me through, like, how did you know, or what were you thinking when you decided for one to say, we're going to see you tomorrow?
Okay.
And then for the other one, here's some greeting material, and I'm going to put it in your court to follow. Tell us about that.
All right. So number one, the lady came to me and said, "So you're a veterinarian, right?" And I said, "Well, yes, and we just have chosen to do animal chiropractic." And she said, "Well, I've just spent $1,000 on my dog, and I still have no answers." And my smart ass self, my sarcastic self, wants to just say, "I'm so sorry that you're an idiot," but that's, you can't, because that would definitely not get you any business, and it would be detrimental. So it's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that they don't know, but let me tell you what I think is going on, and what's your dog's problem? Was peeing too much. Okay, so your dog has a sore back right here because his toenails are too long. Yeah, they click. How did you know? Well, because this is where the nerve to the kidneys exits the spine. This is the roach back, so that area's not moving right. We're gonna trim your dog's toenails. And then she says, yeah, and her vagina's weird, And so I said, bring the dogs in tomorrow. And she goes, well, I got a second dog. Should I bring that in? Well, heck yes, let's see, And then I told her how much a year's worth of chiropractic care would be. And a year's worth of chiropractic care for 2 dogs would be just under what she just spent in the last month on her dog and got no answers. And I'm pretty sure, well, I know, I'm absolutely certain that if she spends a year under chiropractic care here, that her dogs will be better. They'll feel better, they'll act better, and they'll be healthier. So that was the deal with the one. And she was a young, vibrant lady, really interested in her dogs, no kids. So her dogs are a very important part of her family. And then there was an older gentleman that just kind of, as an off, said, yeah, I have 4 dogs, and we've got a dog that's been chronically losing weight over a long period of time. He's kind of old, 14. And so I got some reading material for him, bringing out the best in your dog. And I handed it to him and said, hey, give this a read and see what you think. Because I didn't get the feeling that he was as attached to his dog. The human-animal bond wasn't as strong there as with the first lady that we talked to. And so we just starting to tweak some ideas, just put some information out there so that he could read it and then decide if he wanted to come in. And we talked to him a little bit about what we do if he came, but here, just go ahead and read this.
So cool. Yeah, brilliant.
Well, anyway, thank you. I had good inspiration.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the ACES channels so that you never miss an exciting episode.